This is the IMTS Report with Emily Barta.
Hello, and welcome back to Day 5 of IMTS 2018, where dreamers and doers connect. I'm your host, Emily Barta, and this is the IMTS Report. Harry Moser, who is the president of the Reshoring Initiative, spoke from the main stage in the Grand Concourse this morning about how to increase U.S. manufacturing 40% without tariffs. Among other critical points, he maintains that in order to continue the momentum we have enjoyed as of late, we must recognize the limits to our successes and change our current policies to level the playing field. The Making Chips podcast, recorded at 12 noon today on the main stage in the Grand Concourse, featured panelists from Okuma, Iskar Metals, and Mastercam, who have collaborated on projects together. They agree that success will not be based on individual efforts, but total collaboration between companies, people, and technology incubators, and then putting those things together to move manufacturing forward. The Hanover Messe Solutions Theater was sponsored by the Industrial Internet Consortium today and focused on intelligent manufacturing solutions. Presentations and panel discussions focused on topics such as big data, edge IoT, artificial intelligence, machine learning, digital transformation, and the intelligent mobility of people and things. Today's Job Shop's practical learning session was a repeat performance of marketing master Steve Miller's session called Uncopyable, creating an unfair advantage over the competition. Visitors learned why their current marketing approach is probably backward and how to create an unbreakable attachment with their customers. Plus, they received a complimentary copy of Steve Miller's book by the same title. IMTS visitors have been shuttled between Level 3 of the North Building and Level 3 of the East Building on Ollie, a self-driving, digitally manufactured, 3D printed electric shuttle by Local Motors. The IMTS Ride experience represents how direct digital manufacturing and 3D printing are changing the way manufacturers create products, in turn creating a future where product development timelines are significantly reduced. The Smart Manufacturing Hub has been fostering innovation, collaboration, and networking opportunities at IMTS 2018. And today was the final day of presentations where visitors learned about the ROI of robotic automation and the fully automated visual inspection system. America Makes has been managing the agenda for the Knowledge Bar at the Emerging Technology Center that focuses on additive manufacturing. Today, IMTS visitors learned about Additive Manufacturing Standardization Cooperative, the America Makes Digital Storefront, additive data, binder jetting, laser-based additive manufacturing, and composite-based additive manufacturing. Europe's largest annual industrial technology trade show, Deutsche Messe, premiered Hanover Messe USA at IMTS 2018. These 4 co-located expos emphasized industrial digitization and Industry 4.0. As you make your way around all 4 buildings of McCormick Place, you probably saw some posters that had some significant quotes with some very friendly faces. Well, that's the Dreamers and Doers campaign, and one of those Dreamers and Doers is sitting right next to me. This is Rick Hoffman, the CEO of IMCO. Rick, you've been attending IMTS for quite some time. Tell me when your very first time was and what was your experience?
It was in 1980. I was young, just working as a machinist in a shop. So it was very surprising how large it was, and that was really when it was only in the East Building. You know, coming from a small town of 1,000, 1,200 people, it's just shocking to come into Chicago and see it. So it was pretty wild.
So it was shocking to come into Chicago, into just the East Building.
Right.
Now IMTS is all over all 4 buildings. So IMTS has grown, your company has grown, and you have grown as a result of IMTS. What keeps bringing you back time after time?
We always try to stay ahead of the technology and what's coming up next. Right now, the focus in the last several years has been automation. So we're pushing for automation, automated in every way, every aspect of the business as far as inspection, processing, throughout the shop. So it's been very interesting. I think automation is the key to the future. Everyone has struggled with hiring people, so it's one avenue to explore, and it's definitely working, and it's working for us. So.
Well, tell some success stories through the years as a result of attending IMTS.
We came quite a few, 6, 7, 8 years ago probably, since I can remember that up. But looking for a specific welding process, and we found a company way back at the end of the north building, and it was called Tip TIG, and it was a hot wire TIG process, and we were doing a powdered metal part onto a steel tube, having some problems with porosity, and this really solved the problem. So it's been a great thing for us. On and off, we've looked for automation. We came here a few years ago, discovered the robotics, easy program robots. We've done quite a bit with that since. We're up to about 15 robots in the shop now. So we've really improved our processing.
So not only finding products to purchase per se, but finding solutions to your problems as a 360-degree event.
So yeah, a lot of solutions, a lot of ideas. Sometimes you'll come what you see may not be fully developed yet, but you have it in the back of your mind. You might look at it 1 year, the next year, or the next 2 years, you'll be more invested into it. But in 4 to 6 years, it may be fully developed. You'll have good knowledge of it, and then you're ready to purchase.
What are you on the hunt for this year?
This year, we're looking at some automated inspection, shaft scanners, Swiss-style scanning equipment, because that is a time drain on our employees. We run pretty high volume. My guys run multiple machines, so anything to take workload off them, put it into automation is a huge benefit for us. We've got a new project going on. We're running samples right now, and looking for some fairly large pieces of machining equipment, 1,000, 1,200 size horizontal, and a 1,100, 1,200 size VTL machines.
Well, it's not just you that came to IMTS
Right.
2018.
Right.
Rick brought quite the team of employees with him. So talk to us about the team that you brought and your strategy for
Sure.
how you're bringing them to the show.
We every year since we've been in business, we have brought employees in. We've grown. We started as a 2-person shop 26 years ago. Right now we're about 150 employees. Today we will be bringing in 46 people on a bus. I come in a few days ahead of time. I look for the interesting things that they will enjoy. So it gets them going in the right direction, because they're really only here for 1 day. They'll be here at 9:30 in the morning, and we'll leave about 5. But we typically, as a team, get together the weeks before, managers, engineering, decide how we're going to progress forward, how we're going to automate, give us some ideas of what to look for. We use the IMTS app to pick out our must-sees. So we go through our must-sees list, so everyone has that. They come in, and we have people coming in from basically at the beginning of the process, running the saws and that, up through the engineering, programming, the whole work. Shop managers, night shift supervisors, the whole work. So.
Well, how does attending IMTS help them get more involved in their job once they go back home?
I think it really gets them involved with their work, and I think that's a key part of retaining employees and keeping everyone interested in what they're doing. So you have to empower them, and when they can go to IMTS, come up with a suggestion when we get back home, and we'll investigate it. We'll run it up through and see what we can do with it, and if it, a lot of times we go with it. I mean, it's been a great experience for everyone. So.
Well, you heard it here from Rick Hoffman, the CEO of IMCO. It is a great experience to attend IMTS. And if you haven't done so yet this year, you've got one more day. So quickly make your way to Chicago or to McCormick Place. If that is not in the schedule for you, you can always find out what's going on at IMTS 2018 via IMTS TV, which can be found online at imts.tv. And don't forget to mark your calendars for IMTS 2020. I'm here with Michelle Edmondson, the Senior Director of Exhibitions, Operations, and Marketing for AMT, the Association for Manufacturing Technology, to talk about the Job Shops focus of IMTS 2008. So Michelle, why was there a need for this Job Shops focus this year?
So Job Shops are a very important part of the manufacturing community. So as a collaborative group, they have about 25% of the spend in the manufacturing community, which is huge. And sometimes I feel job shops don't feel as important, don't feel that we know how important they are. So we wanted to do a focus this year to show them how important they are. We asked them, what keeps them up at night and what do they want to learn, and built a program around them to bring them to IMTS just so that we know what they bring to the community.
Well, what does keep them up at night?
So they gave us many things. So we gave them a survey and they told us skills gap is the number one. They're very concerned about the shortage of labor and the shortage of talented labor and trained labor. They're very shortage about price pressure, whether it's price from their customers saying you need to make it less, or price pressure from their the people they buy from, their suppliers, that we're not going to give you need to come down in your price as to what or you're going to need to come up in your price as to what you're going to pay. It's just price pressure is a big thing. They're also really concerned about how they're going to keep their employees not only trained but engaged and keep them happy so that they stay in their environment. And they, those are the big ones. Those are the big ones as to how they keep everybody happy and make manufacturing, the community, great and their businesses great.
Well, have you ever focused on one niche market before like this?
We have not. We decided to do an experiment at IMTS and looked around to see the different niches and the different people that come to IMTS, and decided that Job Shops is the first one we want to focus on in their community.
So you put together a few different programs, aspects, collaborations, if you will, for the job shops and the contract shop owners. So the first being the expo floor and finding new technologies.
Yes.
How does finding new technologies at IMTS 2018 help the job shop and the contract shop owner?
So one of our big messages to the job shop owners and contract shop owners and tool and die owners were, there are 3 ways you can build this program, and one of them is the IMTS exhibitors. And the IMTS exhibitors, we tell them all the time, come to IMTS with solutions for your customers. And the job shops owners and contract shop owners, we told them, use the exhibitors. If you are not collaborating with them or looking to them to help you find solutions, then something is wrong. You've got to make sure that you ask them the right questions, the questions that will help you run your business, because the answers are out there. There's over 2,500 exhibitors out there, and they will absolutely help you find the answers you need.
So the second thing that you encouraged job shops and contract shop owners to do is attend practical learning sessions. Tell us about these.
Yeah, so we actually built that program based on what keeps them up at night. So that program is brand new to IMTS this year. So we had 3 different days that they could come to something, and you talked about it earlier. We had the uncopyable session today. We also had it on Wednesday, and on Wednesday with the uncopyable session afterwards, we had a labor panel of job shop owners to specifically talk about labor and what they're doing. We had somebody on that was giving the business to his daughter and talked about a succession plan. We had someone else that talked about what they are doing for their employees every day. And then we had 2 other people that talked about what they're doing in their community with young kids and the apprenticeship programs that they had. So both of those panels on Wednesday and sessions were very successful. We had over 100 people in the whole gamut, almost 200. And then on Thursday, we had a Top Shops conference. It actually debuted in 2017. And then they brought it to IMTS in 2016. We partner with Gardner Business Media. So that program had almost 200 people in it as well. Huge success. And we've had, after talks with all of the people afterwards, they were very happy with the information they learned.
Now, the third thing that job shop owners and contract shop owners were encouraged to do were to go to networking sessions and luncheons. How did this work?
Oh my goodness, it was great. So the best people to learn from are your peers, right? So we gave them opportunities so that they could engage and talk with each other to figure out what struggles they were facing, what they could do to help each other out, and how that worked. And it worked really, really well. They were really successful and really, really talkative.
Well, the entire program as a whole, how successful was the Job Shops focus at IMTS 2018?
So as a marketing initiative, it was great. We got 15% more Job Shop stakeholders at IMTS this year than in 16. And so we are just so happy and are planning on continuing it and adding more niche markets in there too to help people out.
Well, if you're a job shop or a contract shop owner within walking, training, driving, or flying distance of Chicago, you still have 1 day left. IMTS 2018 does not close until tomorrow. So come on down and come on in. We've got a program and initiatives just for you. And that was Michelle Edmondson, who's the Senior Director of Exhibitions, Operations, and Marketing for AMT, the Association for Manufacturing Technology. iSpy is a behind-the-scenes look at the coolest and most innovative things found at IMTS 2018. In today's episode, Adam Gambrell takes us to TTC, the Today's Technology Center.
Welcome to iSpy on IMTS TV. I'm your host, Adam Gambrell, and we're here in the entrance to the North Building at Today's Technology Center. And I'm talking with Mike DeFranco, who's group publisher for GIE Media. Mike, thanks for having us. Tell me a little bit about what GIE's put on here at Today's Technology Center.
So what we've done today at the booth is we try to take some of this amazing technology that you see throughout the halls and show when it's all put together what the end product can be.
Sure, that's fantastic. So we're standing right in front of this very pretty orange Jeep. Talk to me a bit about the technology you're showcasing in this Jeep.
So what we're doing here, and you'll see the theme throughout the booth as we walk through, is we're talking about how high-strength steels and also using lightweight aluminum can take a lot of weight out of a vehicle and not reduce any of the strength, the rigidity of it, but also increase the fuel efficiency.
Wow, that's fantastic. So I see a Dodge truck back there too, which I've seen in some Dodge commercials, right? That's a commercial product. Talk to me a bit about that truck.
It's the exact same concept as here. Is what they've done is within the frame of the body, they've used a lot of high-strength steels, which actually reduces the weight of it and also put some aluminum into it. So again, not reducing any of the strength of the truck that you've come to know, but really increasing the fuel efficiency of it.
All right, and so now what I guess you could call the showstopper of the TTC here, what everybody seems to be coming to look at, is this sweet-looking airplane. What is it?
It's the Eclipse 550.
Okay, and so what kind of technology are you showcasing with this?
So as kind of the theme of the booth, we're showing it's an ultra-lightweight jet. And it's also designed for one pilot, so a single person can actually fly this by themselves, which is pretty unusual for a private jet.
We're talking about products that are already on the market. What does that mean for this type of technology and how it's here right now?
Well, that's kind of the thing, is that it used to always be talked about in the future, but now, as you can see, this is on the market being used in everyday situations.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So if you want to come see this incredible technology on display by GIE in Today's Technology Center, you can come here to the lobby of the North Building and check out the plane, the Jeep, and the Dodge Ram truck. Thank you so much, Mike, for having us.
Thank you.
All right, and we'll see you next time on iSpy.
Around Chicago visits the best spots in Chicago to eat and to stay, to catch some fresh air, to see the sights, and how to get around the city that hosts IMTS 2018 when you are in town. In today's episode, Adam Gambrell and Michelle Edmondson and Kathy Webster visit Giordano's so that they could get some authentic Chicago-style deep dish pizza.
Chicago is a world-class destination for entertainment, business, hotels, restaurants, but especially trade shows. But you can't do Chicago without Chicago-style deep dish pizza. So today we're checking out a joint that's been serving up some of Chicago's best deep dish pizza for over 40 years. That's right, the world-famous Giordano's stuffed pizza. Welcome to Giordano's. We're here at their flagship location on Rush Street, and I'm sitting with Michelle and Kathy, and we're about to dig into some world-famous Giordano's deep dish pizza. I can't wait. I see the server coming right now. Oh my gosh. All right, so I have a big question. How do you eat stuffed pizza? Fork and knife or with your hands?
Truthfully, you can go either way, but fork and knife is the more polite way to do it.
Oh, sure. Well, I'm a polite person, so
That's
I think
good.
I'll eat mine with fork and knife.
My children like to pick it up and kind of shove it in their mouth. But fork and knife is my preferred method.
You know, I don't know if I'm really past that, though. I might have to just pick
That's
it up and
fair.
shove it in my
You
mouth.
could. You definitely could.
We'll
Can't
use
wait
our
to
etiquette.
try it.
Right?
Do you guys know the history of Giordano's pizza?
No.
I don't.
I've been here that long, you don't know?
I
So it
don't.
was started in northern Italy by Mama Giordano. So she was really famous because she was a great cook, right? And so she used to make this thing called her Italian Easter pie. And so when her sons moved to Chicago in 1974, they opened Giordano's using her recipe for her Italian Easter pie. And that's where the recipe comes from.
That is fantastic. That explains why it is so thick and luxurious.
I know, and it's double,
Pie,
you can see
definitely
it's
pie.
double crusted. There are 2 layers of crust, and there's all this
wow.
cheese, and you know what, I'm just gonna shut up and eat it, okay?
Yep.
Yeah,
Me
that
too.
was delicious.
Bon appetit.
Well, that was worth every bite. You gotta check out Giordano's famous Chicago stuffed pizza right here, and we'll see you next time on Around Chicago. Do you like our Around Chicago series? Let us know. Leave a comment below and click subscribe to keep up to date on all the latest IMTS news. And as always, thanks for watching.
It's time to get out your calendars and start planning for tomorrow. On the Making Chips podcast tomorrow at 12 noon on the main stage in the Grand Concourse, Jason and Jim will speak with AMT's Peter Eelman and Hanover Fairs USA's Larry Turner. They will bring the IMTS experience to a close as they rehash the most important takeaways from the week. Tomorrow's topic at the Hanover Mesa Solutions Theater is the next generation. The last 4 sessions at IMTS 2018 start at 10 o'clock a.m. and conclude at 11:50 a.m. in the East Building, Level 2, Booth 121847. Session topics include Bionics for Education, Bionic Ants, Virtual Powertrain Manufacturing, and Biological Transformation. The SmartForce Student Summit aims to introduce students and teachers from elementary through post-secondary schools to exciting high-tech careers in manufacturing. The Student Summit has hands-on challenges, learning labs, an air rocket challenge, mentor labs, apprentice competitions, and more. This year's Student Summit is still open tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the C Hall of the North Building. The keynote presentation tomorrow in the SmartForce Student Summit is by NASA astronaut Captain Wendy Lawrence, who will talk about her experiences in space. This is Captain Lawrence's second orbit into the world of the Student Summit. The IMTS store will be open until 4:30 p.m. tomorrow. Items sold include jackets, t-shirts, pullovers, hats, water bottles, tumblers, and more. Be sure to stop by and pick up a memento of your momentous trip to IMTS 2018 in the East Building, Level 2, Booth 121177. Thank you for joining us for IMTS Report on Day 5 of IMTS 2018. Be sure to join us for Good Morning IMTS tomorrow at 8 a.m. when we speak with Lonnie Love, who is the group leader of automation, robotics, and manufacturing at Oak Ridge National Laboratory about the Die in the Day scavenger hunt. But first, coming up next is MFG Advocate, where Penny Brown speaks with Carolyn Nowinski-Collins from UI Labs about the DMDII, which stands for Digital Manufacturing and Design Innovation Institute. On behalf of everyone here at IMTS TV, have a wonderful rest of your Day 5 at IMTS 2018, where dreamers and doers connect.
Hello and welcome to the MFG Advocate. I'm Penny Brown. Digital manufacturing is making huge inroads as evidenced here at IMTS. Today we're talking to Carolyn Nowinski-Collins, the CEO of UI Labs, which oversees the Digital Manufacturing and Design Innovation Institute, located right here in Chicago. How are you today, Carolyn?
Very well. I'm really glad to be here. Thanks so much.
Well, we're very excited to have you here. So tell us about the DMDII. What's kind of your history and mission?
Well, so we launched in 2014, and we believe we're the place where innovative manufacturers come to forge their futures. We see it as our job to help manufacturers understand how to use new digital manufacturing technologies, how to accelerate the adoption, how to actually understand how to de-risk it, get the ROI, and ultimately, our vision is build every part better than the last.
So what kind of work do you do specifically?
So the thrust of what we do is projects. We want these projects to be, how do we get to solutions that overcome the barriers to adoption of digital manufacturing technologies? So we work with our network of more than 300 partners to understand what are the problems that manufacturers are having in adopting digital manufacturing. Some of them are trying to understand, how do I use things like artificial intelligence or the Internet of Things? How do I capture data? How do I make sense of it for my shop floor, for my supply chain? We work with them to understand the problem, and then we create projects designed to get solutions to those problems. And those solutions can take lots of forms.
So where are you located in Chicago?
So we're based just a few miles north of IMTS. We're in Goose Island, which is just a little bit north of the Central Business District, and we've got about 100,000 square foot innovation center. And what's really important is about a third of that is our factory floor, our demonstration center. And that's where really these projects begin to come to life. It's really great to talk about digital, very hard to understand and visualize what digital is, and so that's what we do on our factory floor. Every project that we do, we try to make connections to real test beds. Sometimes it happens in our factory, sometimes it happens in our partners' factories. But this is where you can see digital manufacturing come to life, from the earliest stages of design all the way through distribution and logistics. The thrust of what we do, of course, on site is related to the future factory.
So what do you see as kind of some of the real challenges for manufacturing, and what is DMDII doing to address that?
Well, here at IMTS even, you see there's so many great digital manufacturing technologies. People have great solutions around the Internet of Things, around artificial intelligence, advanced analytics, ways to think about how do you maintain your machines better? How do I get better transparency into my supply chain? How can I use things like model-based design or model-based engineering? All of these great potential technological solutions. But turning these technologies into real products and solutions that manufacturers can use and understand how to use them, kind of really just cut through all the noise, that's where we see the real challenges today. So what we want to do is de-risk these technologies, turn them into products, working with our partners to really be able to do this. And sometimes that means, how does this technology integrate with my legacy systems? How does this integrate with my workforce? My workers or change of culture might be necessary for us to be able to use these technologies. And so the problems are not just technological in nature, it's really about adoption. And so I think that's what we're increasingly seeing with our projects and with our partners. It's about, how do you actually get to deploy these and understand what that ROI is for my business?
So you think maybe there's a cultural thing to address within the industry as well?
Absolutely. I mean, not only are there jobs that we're going to see over the next several years that don't even exist today, but we're going to see a lot of transitions of the current workforce into new types of jobs. So how do you take, for example, someone who's been a maintenance technician for the shop floor and turn them into a predictive maintenance specialist? And so the changes that are happening because of digital manufacturing technologies are really going to be quite profound, and we need to figure out how to get our workforce and how to get our cultures ready for those things.
So what's kind of your personal history with the manufacturing industry?
Well, so I'm not a manufacturer by background. In fact, I'm a medical doctor, but I really became an entrepreneur about 15 years ago. And in fact, as I became an investor, I had the privilege of investing in some of the earlier digital manufacturing startups back in kind of the mid 2000s. And so fast forward now to where we are today, it's amazing to see how far digital manufacturing has come. I remember we're talking about predictive maintenance before it had a name, and now that's something that manufacturers all over the globe are trying to figure out how to use that to be able to improve their productivity of their factory floors. And so I guess I've become the geek about manufacturing, even though that's not what I had imagined for myself back in medical school a while back.
Yeah, that's quite a leap. What do you find most exciting about manufacturing?
I think today it's how we are completely changing manufacturing. And I mean, the digitalization of manufacturing is what's most exciting to me, because it's going to look so different. I mean, my own perception of manufacturing was the 4 Ds, dirty, dark, dangerous, dull. That is not what manufacturing is like today. And I think that increasingly we're seeing these cool technologies, the things that we use on our iPhone, or the things that we use on our smartwatch or something like that. Now we're seeing those things move into the manufacturing environment, whether that means to the loading dock or to the design engineer. And it's just that change, I think, is one of the most exciting things, because it means we in the US are going to be more competitive than ever when it comes to the manufacturing of the future.
I think I was talking to you a little bit before we came on here that it was exciting to have a woman on the show. It's exciting to see women in leadership positions in manufacturing, but there's still a huge gap between men and women in the industry. What do you think maybe needs to be done to encourage women to come into manufacturing?
I think the perception around it and the changes are going to lend themselves well to a more diverse manufacturing community. I mean, even just take, for example, the fact that within the future of manufacturing, we're going to need to be more adaptable. We're going to need to work in teams more. That's going to take different types of collaboration, frankly, something I think women are pretty good at, but men too, of course, and figuring out how do we bring more diverse communities together to overcome some of these barriers and to be able to collaborate across a range of different parts of the product life cycle. So, designers have to talk to the manufacturers, have to be able to talk to the suppliers, have to be able to talk to the shop floor workers. There's so much interplay that's going to be necessary, and I think that's something that diversity, and particularly bringing more women in, is going to be really important to do.
Right, perceptions are a big deal for sure. So speaking of that, what do you think maybe somebody from outside the industry would find surprising about manufacturing?
I think all the technology. I think if you had someone just off the street come and walk the floors of IMTS even, I don't think they'd be thinking they're at a manufacturing trade show, because there is there's so much new tech that people think about. Just take something like augmented reality. So many people think of augmented reality, if they even know what that is, as Pokemon Go or something like that, some sort of game. And that same type of gaming technology is being applied to our manufacturers today, and being able to allow manufacturers to do their jobs better, to allow people on the machine shop floor be able to do their jobs better. And I don't think most people realize that whatsoever. And I think that the surprises are still to come too, because I think more and more we're going to see things like virtual reality and artificial intelligence continue to infuse themselves in. And it's just a whole new era. And the reality is, this is going to make us manufacture better. And for us, as I said, DMDI, our goal is build every part better than the last. That requires a type of continuous learning that is going to be new. And it's something that it's happening in other industries as well. But when manufacturing is such a big part of our economy, we're going to be changing very big things.
I know you haven't been here very long yet, but what are you excited to see at IMTS?
Well, I think it's always about, for me, the new tech. And so I think there's several startups that we work with that we're really excited to see here, some of the large manufacturing technology companies that we're saying, you're seeing so many shifts, even just in looking at how to use open source design, for example, or how do you use new types of additive printing technology, or how can we use blockchain, for example, in supply chain. There's lots of just cool things happening. And here we see a lot of that hardware and even some of that software come to life. And so I've already had a chance to see some of the companies that we work with, and I'm excited to see more throughout the day.
Chicago's a very exciting city for manufacturing. We actually had Governor Rauner on the show yesterday kind of talking about Illinois' history. Do you think it's advantageous for DMDII to be located here?
Absolutely. First of all, the Midwest historically has been such a manufacturing hotbed, and that's also where we've seen some of the pain with the changes in manufacturing over the last couple of decades, where we've lost manufacturing jobs, we've lost factories. But now with these new technologies, we can bring some of that back in a new way, bring back, really create new opportunities for advanced manufacturing workers, really great jobs, really great opportunities. In the Midwest, and Chicago is the economic hub of the Midwest, we have real strength in, frankly, non-sexy industries. And people don't think about technology alongside these non-sexy industries like manufacturing or insurance or farming. But these are the industries that are going to see radical change over the next couple of years. And so I think DMDI is situated in the best place it possibly could be.
So who is eligible to become a partner in DMDII?
Well, really anyone. We work with a number of different organizations, over 300 organizations today. Many of them are large manufacturing companies because we see them as, we want them to be around the table because they've got to drive this change. It's got to come from some of the large companies. But at the same time, change isn't going to come without the supply base as well. And so we've got companies like Dow Chemical and Siemens USA, Rolls-Royce, Lockheed Martin, working alongside some small and mid-sized manufacturers, some in their supply chain, some that they're getting to know through this process. But we've also got to bring in startups and universities, community colleges, community groups, government agencies at all federal, state, and local levels. And we have companies and organizations that fit all those bills right now. And so we want to bring that community to bear and bring them together to understand what problems are being had and get the solution providers to start develop solutions together.
Yeah, certainly at AMT, we believe collaboration is really what's important to lift the industry.
Absolutely.
So how can people find out more about the DMDII and how they might work with you?
So probably the easiest thing to do is feel free to shoot us a note, go on our website, dmdii.org. We also, for those who are watching this today, would love them to come by our open house later on this afternoon, where we're going to be able to show some of the factory innovations in action on our future factory demonstration center. But we have open houses once a month, so if you miss it today, come by anytime over the next few months and you'll see what's going on.
Very exciting. Thank you so much for coming on the show today, Carolyn.
Thanks so much, Penny.
This has been Penny Brown for the MFG Advocate on IMTS TV.